Welcome to this masterclass. Do you ever find that you want to build your skills when it comes to being more adaptable in the groups and business meetings and networking that you're going to? Often I know we show up and we feel like everyone there is a solo, not just like a silo, not a part of a tribe. I know often we've had people come out to the ladies meeting and you can tell they don't feel like they fit in, or something we talk about a lot of times is they don't feel is worthiness, right? We go around and we talk about that quite often. I think as women, we're very guilty of looking at other people and what they've achieved and comparing ourselves. So when we get to events, we kind of lock ourselves in versus really working on the tools that are out there to become part of a tribe and to build that relationship. So if that's something you're interested in, love and in business and building your communication skills, I'm here with Charito Kaay, and she's going to talk about that in this masterclass today. Welcome.
Welcome. Yep. Welcome, everyone. And we're looking forward to providing you some tools, tips, and tricks in how to be more effective in your communication. And where we're going to start is why I decided that this topic was so important for myself is I was doing really, really well in my romantic relationship with my husband. And how is that translating into the business world? I was creating inauthentically a persona to fit in. What that was creating was an incongruence with who I was. And once we authentically connect with people, people can really feel that they can like, know, and trust you in that process. And so when we're in a business relationship, whether it's our clients or people that we want to invite into our tribe, our community, we want to address what are our own personal needs and in communicating what that looks like and identifying other people's needs so that we can have that win-win situation in all our interactions and communications, as well as serving others. As entrepreneurs, we're looking to help people with their problems and help them with achievable solutions to their problem.
Well, and I find that often, and something that the challenge in the ladies meeting has been, which is a group that we meet on the last Tuesday of every month, is people come in for a single event versus come for a year and deeply get to know people. And that means you need to come in and listen versus take a card and shove a business in someone's hands. So welcome to helping us solve this problem. Charito she holds a master's degree in environmental engineering. I'm gonna have to read from this, sorry. She's been practicing since 2012 as a certified whole food nutritionist and a lifestyle coach. And she empowers and educates folks to reduce everyday chemicals and help pretty much everything that she does goes towards making a healthy environment in our homes, our lives. And then also, I think this really extends into the static that is between humans too. And so we can clear up that static as well. She supports individuals through therapeutic essential oils, mental and emotional and physical well-being. And she's currently the president of the Vancouver Independent Professionals and is also the network treasurer of Declarations Toastmasters. So welcome to this masterclass. So if you're just getting here and you haven't been on one of our masterclasses before, the ladies meeting is a group that you can come out and actually see Charito live. She'll be giving a 25-minute presentation on this. And this is obviously an evergreen content that we're creating, but also you can come out and see her live. If you're seeing this beforehand, she'll be on the last Tuesday of each month, we meet at the Sylvia Hotel in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. We're currently up here in beautiful Whistler. You can't see outside, but it's a beautiful snowy day on Green Lake. Absolutely amazing. And we've spent the morning actually just kind of masterminding over this topic and discovering a little bit more about each other and getting to know each other, which has been lovely. Thank you for coming and staying overnight. I really appreciate that. And
playing in the kitchen as well.
Oh, and we cooked last night in the kitchen. Anyone who knows me, that when you come for dinner, you have to come and cook. So that's how it goes. Bring some ingredients, we mix it all up, and we cook and then eat together. So it was amazing, lovely. And you always, whenever you're around Charito, you learn more about what you're cooking with and how you could do it better. And she uses essential oils to really accentuate all the food. Absolutely amazing. So if you are just seeing this on Facebook and you want to see the replay, it will be in in our back office, which is in Mighty Network, and it is under the entrepreneurcollective.com. You can go there and get your free profile and log into this masterclass for free for the next month. You I highly recommend downloading the Mighty Network app. And what you do is you put in the word the is very important, or you won't find us, the Entrepreneur Collective. This is our back office. It houses our classes, it houses events. It's basically like Facebook. So like when you signed up for LinkedIn and you signed up for Facebook, you're going to get a lot of those same options. It is its own app, and it has all these amazing opportunities to network in as well as a main feed and private groups. It has a sanctuary space as well, where we can remember we've placed some friends that we've loved and lost there to keep their memory alive. And then we have private women's groups, we have book clubs, we have business training. There's a free business plan for the year there for you. And let's get into this masterclass today. So what is the first topic that we're going to talk about?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the Entrepreneur Collective. A lot of the resource that we're going to be showcasing in this masterclass on video, you can download them, and there's a survey quiz to nail down their communication style, as well as needs and feelings inventory list, and the wheel of consent. So those are some of the tools that we're going to talk about in this masterclass, and we'll go over them in this next 40 minutes, but you can certainly go in the Entrepreneur Collective to download all that information in the next month.
So you're just going to go to menu, just like in any app, the little lines of the menu, look to the left, look for classes. You can use your Facebook as a login as well, or you can just log in with a username and password. If you do want to become a member of the ladies meeting, you do get 2 months for free. You will have to put a credit card in, and we would love to see you out there live and in person. Or if you're somewhere else there in the world, you're also welcome to come in and network with us there. And we give you a free masterclass each month with tools like this. So we hope that we're creating an amazing value, and there's already a lot of content there for you as well. Basically, if you are looking to build clients and build relationships with clients, I know many of us have gone through the sales path. I've had business coaching clients where I've drawn them in and sold them, but I really didn't take enough time to find out that we had the same values in business, that I would be directing them based on values. So I wasn't just bringing in the money in my business. I was bringing in people who really wanted to grow and stretch down the same avenues, because even when I'm coaching, I'm always learning. And when I have clients, I want to know that I'm sending them down a like-minded path. And so developing these skills is going to really help people expand their business. And I think that that's a huge awareness piece, that when they're coming out to networking, how they can really grow their own tribe and build their influence.
Right. And in terms of what we want to get out of these networking events and interactions in love as well as in business relationships, we have specific needs, many complex needs that we're trying to address and satisfy. And when certain needs are not being satisfied, it plays out in the way we interact, positively in an adverse way. And if they are being met or feeling safe, then we will probably continue on. But these needs and feelings constantly shift like a roller coaster. Mm-hmm. And when we're feeling nourished in our interaction with people, we don't feel as drained in these networking mm-hmm. events or interactions. We feel nourished and feel safe and continue to expand and grow our influence as well as...
Well, and I think the key word is safe. Like we talk about Maslow's hierarchies of needs. And we want to put ourselves out and do brave things. But if we haven't built that foundation of really, really feeling safe, then we're still taking, we're still may come across as needy. And so building these skills to, after you've figured out what you need to feel safe, and not everybody has the same thing to feel safe.
Right.
Sometimes some people it's going to be money. Some people it's going to be knowing that there's time to do things, to get things done. So where do you usually start with that?
And the needs are quite long, so we can actually share the screen and maybe just scroll through some of the needs, and we'll move on to just showing you, and you can download this in the Entrepreneur Collective.
Mm-hmm. Oh, share screen.
And our needs are going to change over time and they may still be there, and the priority of our needs will also shift as well. Some things are absolutely necessary. We all need money to pay for things, but there are other kind of self-actualizations. As we show the screen here, there's the connection, and that there's subsections of connection that can be an acceptance of our thoughts, our ideas. And connection could also mean touch, which is affection. Appreciation is love language, being words of appreciation, or even gifts. It could be gifts as well, or inviting people to listen to your ideas, creating that community mindset, whatever that connection means, because it can mean more one-on-one, or connection could mean like opening up our network. And that's, I think, being part of the ladies meeting is we're looking for expanding our network, creating those deeper connections so people feel safe to open up their own personal networks and clients that can have a synergy with their own values, et cetera, et cetera. Cooperation, companionship. These are all basic needs. Honesty, authenticity. Can we feel safe to be honest with this individual to share what we're opening up to these people?
Well, just to talk about that too, is there's different types of honesty too, because for example, when I first got divorced, it was kind of a joke. It was about going out on 7 dates. So I ended up with 40, but 7 first dates. I had to, as a now single person and single mom, I had to spit something out to a perfect stranger, because I mean, just figuring out, this is the days of lava life, right? This was a long time ago. I'm a grandmother. My kids were probably like 10 and 12 or something at the time. When I spit out what I wanted to tell this person, I then had to really decide, because this is stuff I hadn't ever expressed before. I had to then go home and decide if that was true. Do I, is that really how I feel? Because this is, when you're in that uncomfortable situation, sometimes you feel a little bit like you're in 90210, and it's like you're on show, and sometimes you're like, did I really just say that? And it's like, well, how am I had to learn to be really authentic with myself so that what comes out is truly authentic too. And it's a great place to test it out too.
Right.
That level of truth with yourself. It's like, I don't really feel that way.
And where's that truth coming from? Is it a cognitive process where we feel that is how we should feel? Or is our body feeling what we're saying we're feeling? So we can say, I feel confident, but inside your body is shaking. You're feeling this tension in your shoulders because it's the persona that we're projecting, because that's how we should portray ourselves. And in terms of being honest with ourselves is the first thing where we need to start, because if we're not honest with ourselves and how we think and feel and the sensations that we feel in our body, that is alerting us to our incongruency with our thoughts and feelings, how can we be authentic with other people and recognize it in other people that they're being authentic as well?
Well, and that's where we were at the coffee shop this morning and talking about Tony Robbins with the Mastermind Group, and how he can look at someone's body and tell that person is not in touch with their necessarily something that may have happened, and to be able to pull that out. So sometimes you need someone else too to help you realize that you're not being honest with yourself. And it does often show up in a physical problem.
Right. And other people may really value the need for fun, play, and joyfulness. And someone else who doesn't value that need and wants productivity, there can be a battle of a conflict between the two in achieving a goal. But when we look at a cooperative setting, maybe we can achieve both and still have a result that meets both.
Well, and I think there's often that unconscious judging, because I used to always be go, 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 busy, busy, busy. And I'd see people going off and having fun. And I was like, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. I'm busy. And then I realized busy isn't always getting what you need done. You look at some of the most successful people in the world, they meditate every morning. They take time for peace and quiet. You get more done sometimes when you go away to a mastermind group and it's not nothing. But it's a different kind of productivity where you're getting very quiet with who you're with and where you are. And you end up much further ahead quite often because you took that time away in that quiet space. I probably skipped ahead on you, didn't I?
I'm going to stop the share so we can see us.
Right.
And so that is something like an inventory of needs, getting clear, print out that inventory list of needs and look and see what actually identifies with you now in this time. Is get really, really honest with yourself about what you really, really want. And if you notice in the needs, money isn't there, right? It comes down to the base need internally. Money is a vehicle to satisfy your needs, right? So it's underlying. Why do we need the money? For safety. We might need it for appreciation. We might need it to feel loved by our family and people in the community. Those are the needs that we're looking at, and getting clear. And so once we look at those needs, what are the feelings that kind of come up in our body? If we're feeling that unsatisfied in an interaction because our basic need isn't being fulfilled, what do those look like? And this is where our body will alert us, that tension in the body when we're not feeling satisfied. So we'll feel unsafe. But how does that feel in our body? So connecting the two and being more conscious and aware of how that feels in our body, rather than dismissing it, because these are alert systems. Fear is an alert system. We can say, well, we just need to get over this and be calm. Why do we fear? Let's work on what we're not getting out of this time of fear. And we do have to do things to overcome the fear, but if this is something consistent and constant, maybe this activity is not in alignment. Or we need to shift our mindset so that we can fulfill our needs. So in a networking event, we were talking earlier how if we can feel drained after a networking event, how can we shift our minds so our needs are being met? And you did so perfectly in the ladies' meeting, where rather than going on and handing out your business card in some traditional networking groups, you try to get exchange cards as often as possible to meet one or two people and sit in that experience with one or two people and continue that.
And I get to see from the front of the room when I stand up and I say, we have a 3-part protocol. You only need 3 cards. And one of them is for the woman right across from you. And it's literally like the whole room goes from looking around like this to, and they start to focus in on that one person that they get to know. But it also means you're cutting out static. And so I get to see that from a little bit from a distance too when I say that, because it's like there's a sense of relaxation almost I find that happens when it's like, I don't need to get to know everybody. No, just meet 1 or 2 people, person in front of you, person beside you. Just worry about that and do it really well. And then come back next month, meet them again in the middle of the month, like build that relationship. Don't worry about everybody else.
Right.
And then come meet 2 more new people. And it's just like the sense of like everything just chills out, right? When you can have that focus on doing one thing well.
Right. And I find too that those types of questions get deeper into who the person is, what's important to them, their values, and where they are in life, because that will deeply translate into how they operate their business. And who are we serving? What are we compromising? Are we compromising our ability to connect and attach to people for a transaction for business, which could compromise referrals and people widening their network to you? So it's like the one-hit wonders. You might get a transaction, you'll feel accomplished. But looking at the bigger picture of networking, which is developing a long-term relationship that's going to be beneficial for both people involved in getting to know each other. And in business, it's not simply just the product or service. It's also that we're on this entrepreneurial journey together, just like we are in our personal relationships. It is a journey together. And I like to equate it with, let's go for a walk on the beach, enjoy the journey, rather than this roller coaster up and down of challenges and shifting and adapting, right?
Well, a lot of people forget that when you're at a networking group, it's not about who you can sell to in that networking group. You don't know who those people know, right? And they're not going to recommend you until they know, like, and trust you. And that is, you now have that time to build know, like, and trust. Because then when they have the perfect referral for you, that's what you want. You want that perfect referral that might be $1 million referral. You may only get a $20 sale in here in this group, but that you may have showed up to. You don't know because most people are there to sell their own product. They're not there to buy from you necessarily. They're there to build their confidence and build their influence. And they can't do that for you unless you know, like, and trust them as well. So it's like this win-win when you get to know somebody, because then you've got such a bigger circle of influence, right? And I think that gets lost sometimes.
Right. Yeah. And I don't collaborate with everyone who presents an opportunity. I evaluate an opportunity. In the past, if someone gave me the stage, I might say yes. But now I look at it more like, if I'm on the stage, I'm also aligning myself with the person who's organizing the event. And am I aligned with their values? Because now we're going to be connected.
Well, we looked at the word congruent.
Right.
You know, and congruent can mean in business, in life, in your personal values too. Because if you go into business with someone, and I had this experience where I don't believe in people that do a lot of drugs, and I don't believe in certain values and certain language, and it's not something I want to be around, right? But it took time to figure that out, whereas maybe I should have taken more time on the other side before I went into business to find out how much of in or out of alignment we were. And, you know, we all have a certain level of give or take, right? Like, because we know we do things that probably piss people off or aren't in alignment, but if we can find enough in common, then there's a way to move forward over the long term and build long-term relationships.
Yeah. And so there is also, in conjunction with the needs inventory, there's also feelings inventory, and people can download that as well. We'll quickly just share that, and then we'll move on. Where are we for time?
We're still good.
Okay. Quickly want to show this feelings inventory, mainly because I think not everyone is aware that there are nuances to how things feel in the body. So when you're feeling satisfied, it's much more easier for you to be affectionate and connected to this person, rather than as creating this wall of hesitation to share, hesitation to be completely honest with this person. And to acknowledge that is important. You'll be more affectionate, you'll feel more happier and feeling like you're in alignment with the joy and happiness that the other person is feeling. You'll be in alignment. You get excited, amazed, it's this expansive energy. You feel so excited for the next step, the next time you're gonna meet this person. Also, you can feel calm, completely feeling embraced and loved, refreshed, enlivened. So this idea of going to networking events and feeling exhausted, there is something else going on there. It's not the networking event. There's something going on in the interaction that can be shifted. So in here you have when your needs are satisfied, serene, satisfied, relaxed. And these are all very varying sense of peacefulness. Trusting. So trusting is a sense of peacefulness, which is you're feeling safe.
And you're reminding me of a seminar I did with Dan Locke, actually, where he took the whole ballroom and we all broke into, I think it was colors, but basically, and it was some self-identifying, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert or what you care about. And I think it was pearl and different things like that. But understanding. And so there was a certain individual in the room who I'd always had a really hard time connecting with. And we were at many, many multiple events and trainings. And here we were again in the same room. And it was like, just could not figure this person out. And it turns out she's one of those people who didn't care about other people's opinions, didn't need information from other people. It wasn't that she didn't value them, but just the way that she connected into the world was very different than how I connected into the world. And I realized she didn't want me to invite her out to 10 things. She didn't want to, and it was just like, to learn that about her, we then connected, right? Whether someone's an introvert or an extrovert, and sometimes they don't know themselves. Or you can be an omnivert, which is a little like myself. I'm a little bit of both. I get my energy on my own, but I love going to an event. So I know that I need to charge up quiet time, private time. Whereas people in the room, he booked them out to, these are the party people. These are the people that love and get their energy and feel great at an event. The better, the more people, the more energy, whereas some people get there and you feel drained. But it's understanding that, like, what do you need to get there? And walk through this.
And I mean, there's some individuals that understand that they're introverts, and we can help those people along to feel love and want, because they're there. They've already shown up. So they've already said yes to wanting to connect. Let's help them. Let's help them.
And what would you do to help?
Say hello. Say hello. We can find ourselves, if we go to a lot of networking events, we start seeing the same people over and over again, because we want to keep on developing those connections, and then reminding ourselves what it felt like to be in that space the first time, and invite those people in to at least just start the process as well.
And I love to also watch the transformation. So we have someone who came out and disappeared, because we go around the table and we ask people, I want, so I can do this. I have something I'm really grateful, and here's my big hairy goal, or something that I really, really want. And we go around the table, you have 60 seconds to introduce yourself. And we got around her and she was gone.
Oh,
well, but in the next month, had a conversation with her, went out to one of Jen's events. We have some members that do a wine event, had a chat with her. She came and she stood up the next event and did her introduction and rocked it. And you would never have known that this was someone who hadn't come out before, because, you know, we talked about it. She built some confidence, and hopefully she's going to come out and become members. So, yeah, but I love that transformation.
Right.
And that someone who's seeking to understand, like Stephen Covey says, seek to understand yourself as well.
And some people need to be able to observe first and be cautious with their interactions. And once they're ready, they're definitely ready. You have people who have unfiltered honesty, and that has value as well, because it can be sometimes very hard to read people who are very good at that wall and hiding things. And communication is more than just the words we say, because again, this incongruency plays a big role in confusing the heck out of communication, because what they say, and then you look at their body language, even their twitches, and you're wondering, did they say something that didn't resonate with them, or are they putting on a persona? And those are things that we become more natural aware. And sometimes we're not asking the right question. So for instance, in communicating gratitude, we can, in terms of communicating gratitude, there's 5 different love language, but gratitude
Chapman. What's his first name?
Yeah, so there's words of affirmation, touch, there's acknowledgement, service, and gifts. I think I got them all. Anyway, it comes into play with gratitude and how we give and take, and this requires consent. Christmas just passed, and I'm sure many people have received gifts that they don't enjoy or didn't seem like it was the right gift for them. But we all know that people give gifts with pure intention.
Well, a lot of people are about to get flowers. And for some people, flowers mean nothing, right? They would rather have a dinner, or have someone come and just spend some time with them, or cook in the kitchen with them. Right. Time and service is way more important, or fix something for them. Versus there's other people who I didn't get flowers. Right. I mean nothing to you because I didn't get flowers. And so identifying that, and it's really important to identify that about yourself first. Right. Because then if you are with a partner or in a business relationship with someone who doesn't understand that you need what each of you needs in that relationship, you're going to find you're down a sad path. Right.
And it goes both ways. And sometimes it's not even about the gift or the gratitude. It's more about the person's thinking about you. If your need is to be acknowledged, if your need is a sense of belonging. So I may not enjoy the gift or the gratitude that's being provided, or touch, whatever that looks like, but we can allow. So in terms of the consent wheel, there's you giving something, and then there's someone receiving.
We'll show you the consent wheel.
Right. But we can also allow people to give us things, so we acknowledge their love and their intention. And that in itself has value. And this consent wheel shows it very clearly. And the way I look at it is, so there's always 2 people in this situation. And when we communicate with people, there's body language, there's even the words that we say to people. So there's a giving and there's a taking.
Mm-hmm.
In here, as entrepreneurs, we're always looking to serve our clients. The clients hopefully have come to us because we can solve a problem. So we're doing something for the client. But if we haven't really addressed the basic needs to really identify the root cause of why they're coming to you, we may not be ultimately serving them in the proper manner. Because they've said, I want this, so you give it to them. And that might be enough. But as entrepreneurs, we have our integrity for our business. Are we providing the best value or the best job for this person long term? Mm-hmm. And the giver at this the receiver at this point has given us permission. They've paid for our services or our product. Permission is already granted to receive. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's already kind of an intention already in there. You can call it contract, but it is an intention that there's going to be an exchange. Mm-hmm. So that is the first and foremost is consent that this exchange is going to happen. Now, a surprise gift at Christmas time, you kind of know there might be a present. If there's Valentine's Day, there might be a present involved or not, mm-hmm. right? So this is where the consent comes into play. Mm-hmm. So do we allow the exchange to happen in our direction, and is there consent to provide in the other to somebody else? Mm-hmm. So if I said to you, Anissa, how do you like to be touched, mm-hmm. or how do you like to receive gratitude? Okay, so you're the organizer of the ladies meeting. Mm-hmm. What would be something that would show my appreciation for being part of your tribe?
Showing up is everything to me. We have members who've been members for 3 years, and I know that when they don't show up, it's because they can't. Mm-hmm. And I will, for example, when someone signs up as a member, I'm like, do you have the next 11 months other than December, because we don't meet in December, do you have it free, and can you put it in your calendar? Right? Because if not, this isn't going to work for you. I can't provide you the know, like, and trust that you're coming to this meeting for.
So it's enough for me to show up every single month. Yeah,
because I do that. That's right. What I do. I set it up for myself because I had a brain injury and I knew I needed to get back to my business. And so I decided the one thing I can do for my business right now, even though I'm off business coaching, I'm not doing things for I don't know how long, is I started back by setting a date and I show up every month. And 3 years later, obviously I'm much better. I'm back to coaching. I've built back the know, like, and trust. I've maintained clients and things because I decided to show up.
Right.
And for me, everything is about showing up.
Right.
And that's
that's enough. And for me, if I were to show appreciation, maybe I would send you a card, or even just, I'm sorry, I couldn't show up this month, but I didn't show up. Mm-hmm.
But right? No, but even just that contact of like, hey, I'm really sorry I can't make it. Someone's in the hospital or whatever. Yeah. And the other part that too, when someone renews their membership. Okay. And says, I still want to hang out with you.
Right.
That's like, I'm like, party!
Yeah. So that's an acknowledgement that this person still wants to maintain and keep connected.
Yeah.
So that's enough for you. That's gratitude.
It's huge.
It's huge. Yes.
And I know exactly, as a kid, I grew up with a certain group of kids and I never felt like I fit in. So I created my own place to fit in, and people are still saying, I want to hang out with you. And I've done all the work. I'm going, I was always that tall, awkward kid who just never really felt like they were connected. I was never really smart. And it was never like, I never wasn't the smart kid. I wasn't the dumb kid. I was the creative kid in a place where, can really, so it's just like, I found a place where I get to do all the things I'm really good at and have fun and seek and connect with other people that are like-minded. And part of the challenge too is letting people go that aren't like-minded. And like, I've had people like, oh, I'm not really sure if I should join. And I'm like, well, why don't you not join?
Yeah.
Why don't you go find a group that really works for you, that you're connecting with people that are, more engineering, more, maybe it's all about, like you need things that are really in alignment with you and what you do, and it's really clear because people are like, oh, you have so many websites and places for me to connect in with you. I'm like, yeah, I've been on social media since 2009. I'm out there, right. And that's confusing for some people.
Right.
Right. Which means, well, maybe you're not my tribe. And I've learned to be really okay with, I'll let you go. And maybe next year you'll want to come back because you'll see that we are in alignment, and maybe you've grown into loving social media because you see the value in it, or maybe you don't.
Right. Yeah.
You know, we always have, you know, for the people that were with us, I was like, oh my God, there's 10 people here. Yes. Ooh, oh gosh, we have 15. Oh crap, there's 30 people in the room. And every time still amazes me. And I'll still show up if there were 2 people.
Yeah.
Because I always know that it's going to be the right 2 people because I've learned this. I didn't know this when I started this, this wheel, I'm
Right.
still learning,
Right.
is that when you come and you show up authentically and you know what you need and you know how to listen and actively listen, that I know that even if it's 1 person showed up, it would be the right person for what, and either of us are going to find some beautiful benefit in it.
Right. And the way I like to give gratitude is to promote you. So when I go to a networking event, I'm the kind of person who starts connecting people. Like, I know this person, here's another person that I know that you would be in alignment with. So I keep a mental note of someone telling me something like, oh my God, I just met this other person that you need to meet. And I'll go and like, come this way. That is how I like to show appreciation,
and,
gratitude.
And me as well.
Yeah, is to lift other people up. And so for me, showing up, that is just basic. I don't think that's enough. But you said it's enough. I'm so happy to hear that.
Well, and I love to hear. And if I listen to other people describe me as, like you're saying, a connector is looking for those connections. When I hear people are having something that I think your oils can help, or even food issues, I'm like, you need to talk to Charito. Just call her.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I had this one boyfriend. He grew up in a very small family. Yeah. And so there's just his parents and him and his sister. So at Christmas time, they would get like a full stocking of gifts and multitude number of presents. And I came from a very large family where you get 1 gift.
Right.
And so I felt really overwhelmed with all these gifts. And for him, that was just basic. You give a lot of gifts, and then if you've given gifts, you've done your job. I don't need to spend the entire birthday with you or the entire Christmas day with you. And for me, I'm like, I'd rather spend all day with you and get no gifts. And me and my husband, we went to Victoria for a whole week, and he was just in love with that, and I was in love with that. And it feels like every day is like Valentine's Day or my birthday. So when a special occasion comes up, we're like, well, it's not that special because it's like
we had this conversation because with the partner that I'm with right now, he was like, so I guess we should do something for Valentine's Day. I'm like, didn't we just do that? Because that's how special our last meal together. We went and saw the full moon on the mountain, and we had a little fire outside. And I was like, drop the mic, I'm done. That's what I get. I'm good. You know? And then he was like, oh, okay, cool. I got to say how much I appreciate that we just did that one thing together. Yeah. So, but for some people, they need the flowers. You know, and finding out what that is, whether it's that 1 gift or they need 3 or 4 gifts, or they need the diamond or don't need the diamond. You got to find that out.
And you totally nourished my soul last night by us cooking together. That is like the biggest thing. Like me and my husband, we don't cook together. I could starve the guy, but if I touch him, he's fine. Right?
And I have a son like that. I used to have to teach his teachers that all you need to do is, when you're talking to him, is touch him on the shoulder, and he will deeply connect with you. I learned to give him like the biggest hug when he left for school, and he'd stay filled up for quite a long time. Right. Yeah. And at a certain age, it doesn't work anymore. Right. I don't know. I can't barely get my arms around him. He's 6'5". So figuring out what that language is really key. Yeah. And we love our romantic dinners are cooking together. And then we sit down and eat. And he loves cleaning the kitchen. So.
And there are times where kind of the interaction or this wheel of consent gets a little bit, not done correctly, because there's the taking. So we can take something. So we can take a hug. Like as soon as we go like this, the other person feels compelled to hug you back, but there actually isn't a consent. So now we've actually compromised their congruency, and you can feel it right away. As soon as you go for a hug, there's like just like a tap, or they're just kind of stiff. It's not their love language, and they're not feeling comfortable. So I'll go into a situation where I might, shake their hand first, and then feel where their energy is. But that's me being intuitive.
Well, and there's on TikTok, there's actually a girl who she must be a psychology major. Yeah. Because she's always talking about Of how if I pass something to you, you're
I'm
gonna
grab
take it. Like she talks about all these little things of eye contact.
What is this?
And just like little games that you can play with people. She does it. I think it was you. People are recording in the bathroom. She gets into the shower and she records. And she's the one person on TikTok, other than Gary Vee, that I would watch every single thing she does because it's so brilliant. The psychology of it's like she's like, if you do this, another person will absolutely do this. Go try it. And you're just like, fun just to play around with, because we have a lot of these built-in structures, or as like I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts and I really got to realize how much of a construct we are. We are all constructed, which means we can reconstruct. If there's someone we really want to be in a relationship and we become really, really aware, we put up with wiggly toes and we put up with, we make a trade like the, if you're looking at the screen here, you know, there's some wiggly lines, that you're willing to, I'll trade a portion of this for a portion of that.
If this is going to give you some enjoyment to hug me, I'm okay with that. I didn't want a hug, but you can have a hug. And so sometimes I'll say, let's give us a kiss. Let's give us a hug. Right. And
that's a really good way to put it. I've never heard it.
Consent. There's a sense of consent that we're both going to be involved in this. And that requires a little level of trust in that situation. But
and I think in business, you need buy-in for certain things too. Like you said, for example, you used to work for a company where you had to go kayaking on Wednesday afternoons or something. And for some people that might be like, ugh. You know, so there has to be a level of buy-in in a business as well for pleasure. Or we were talking about in Sweden, they have fika. And we're starting to see the fika culture because IKEA has started to make it. I always used to have fika Friday. If you lived in Vancouver, when I lived in Vancouver, I would invite people out for fika Friday. It was the beginning of the ladies' meeting when I have a group of 10 women show up, and I was like, oh, there's something to this coffee in the middle of the afternoon thing. And that taking that time. And there's other people who would be like, what do you mean I can't take Friday afternoon off at 3:00? And I'm like, okay. Good with that.
Again, depends on context as well, because this consent, wheel of consent can shift depending on the context. So I wouldn't mind going for a beer happy hour at 3:00 on Friday with my friends, but with my coworkers, that's a different story, right?
Well, the ladies meeting is a really good example as well. We fill on the last Tuesday between 1 and 3 of every month, we fill the room in a hotel. And there's other people like, I don't have time to take Tuesday afternoon off to go for lunch. There's no way I could ever do that. And I'm like, okay, well then this is not for you. Whereas I'm like, so one day you could come out to our mastermind group in the morning. You've got an hour in between to do the work that you promised yourself you would do. And then you can network, build your influence, and then you can hang out after and meet and get to know something, because we often sit in a lounge afterwards and hang out. And then you could go off to Roger Killen's event after that too. Like you can spend, I think it's extremely efficient to spend one whole day on yourself and your business a month. That's efficiency. And you get a chance to use all of the things on the screen here too.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Sorry, that was a little self-plug there. But I like to see where I can take something I learn and apply it, and it makes it so usable, for sure. Yeah. And you had a quiz and stuff for us too. So what interactive activities can we do?
So one of the things, now that you've identified your needs and how you can satisfy what satisfied and non-satisfied feelings look like in communication, you might want to know how you communicate. Is it direct, indirect, supportive, or initiating, which is like a coach or mentor? And once you realize where you fall in line, you might want to attract people into your tribe that think like you. But I can say that by having people who don't think like you can basically it's like a bouquet of flowers, right? That it's much more lush and beautiful to look at when you have a mixture of people of differing communication styles and push you to the edge.
Skill levels too.
And skill levels.
Because a lot of us are at different places in our journey as far as skill levels. Like I loved when Charito came out to YVR Masterminds, and Roger Killen and Winston, thank you.
Voice Story.
And even them, each of them are along a similar journey, but at different levels and different levels of training. And we got to get a piece of that and learn. And it's taken, all boats rise, because they shared some of their experience. They probably learned a little bit from us. We learned from them. All boats rise. And when you're always in the same, like they came into our group and lifted us up, even though we might have had similar ideas about things, but different levels too.
Right.
So that's cool.
So the survey is really neat. It'll go through 12 questions. It'll ask you questions like, how do I feel working in a group best as? And I'll give 4 different questions, and then you'll pick them. And then from that, it will determine what is your preferred communication style. And then it'll show you all 4 of them, so you can take a look at all the other ones. So in certain situations where it's an emergency situation, you might prefer a direct style of communication, so it's results oriented. But where there's time for brainstorming, collaboration, and a supportive type of communication style, that might be more appropriate depending on context. But I'll tell you that when you can have people that are in your group that are all the different communication styles, then we can make sure everyone is being heard. So results oriented, purposeful, fun, engaging, and also increasing and elevating our professionalism, because you're not staying stagnant at that point. Results are good to have, but if there isn't a collaborative or it's a democratic style of collecting information, it becomes just like one person that's initiating the goal.
So I wonder how we can encourage that kind of collaborative style in a group setting, like right from the get-go. Like for example, so you're going to have a staff meeting.
Yeah.
How can you initiate, and maybe it's all new staff members. So how can you go into that and identify, like, is there like a tool or something we could use to identify before people could, because you end up with people who are going to come into staff meeting like this. There's people who are going to be at the table going, okay, how can I participate? I want to have some input. And there's other people who are like,
well, the question is,
I just want to show up. I'll take the input. I'll take it away. I'll use it. I'm good.
Right. And so the question is why are people feeling skeptical? It's because these things don't create results. So there's someone who is not willing to be accountable to make the change, or someone just needs to know, just let me know when you guys are done chatting back and forth, and let me know what you need me to do. Yeah. Because I don't want to be dealing with conflict and differing opinions.
Oh,
they don't really want to be in that environment, that space that causes a lot of anxiety.
I had that experience this week, actually. So yes.
Yeah. So you have those types of people who just want to be told what to do.
For me, quite often, if I'm in where I'm an employee, I just give me the boxes to tick off. I'll get it done. I can do it faster than anyone.
Just let me know when you guys decided that this is the direction, because it sucks when I'm told to do something and then it gets nixed because they're going in a different direction. So that's very frustrating. Frustration can come into play. And this comes from the leadership to determine what is the best.
Or, for example, okay, here's the boxes we're going to tick off, but not everybody's been enrolled into the conversation, and not everybody's going to tick off the boxes, and whoever feels like you're not ticking off the boxes, well, then you've ticked off some other people, right? So it's challenging.
It is very challenging, and we are not going to satisfy every single one, but if we can create a compromise where at least 50% or 60% that the needs are being addressed, like if it was a work environment, people are getting paid. So, but when you're talking about like a nonprofit or a voluntary committee, then people are simply not going to show up anymore.
Well, and they just walk away.
They just walk away because they're not being heard, and they figure, well, I don't need this. I'm not getting paid anyway, and I don't need it to pay my bills. So there's that kind of aspect. And then you'll look at the committee and say, well, maybe you need to create subcommittees who are willing to do the group rather than involving the people who don't need to be involved. And recognizing and acknowledging where people can shine. And
this might be where I always used to say when I was on the school pack, it's like, put up or shut up. I didn't get to have an opinion until I put something up. But then often that would, we hadn't taken time to figure out how to be collaborative. And so it was like bossing people around versus creating a collaborative environment. I think that happens a lot on nonprofit boards, where you find one person who's willing to put everything up, but then they get fed up because they haven't taken time to figure out the wheel of how to give and take and allow, so that everyone can be involved and give. Right. And so that can be a challenge.
Or someone is very passionate about the project, they have the vision, hasn't quite helped to initiate the passion in other people, and then they get burnt out because they're doing everything. Right? They're doing everything, they haven't gotten buy-in, and people figure, oh, well, you know what, she's figured out what to do, and she's making me feel less than because I'm not doing it the way she's doing it. So just let her do it, or him to do it, or something like that. And so this is where our communication style, that acknowledgement, if we're a direct type of person, We can be very honest, but we have to endear people to get to the results,
right?
In some way. Otherwise, you don't have any followers. You're doing everything yourself, and you get burnt
you
out
aren't
and
a leader.
frustrated.
John Maxwell's really good. He's like, you're not a leader unless there's somebody following
Yeah, there's no followers.
I get people who are like, I am a leader, and it's like, who's behind you?
Right.
Just because you're standing at the top of the mountain and there's nobody looking up at you, not leadership.
Right. Yeah. And these are kind of like committees and organizations, very kind of business. And in romantic relationships, what, if you have kind of disagreements or challenges, and interact, what is at stake here? Do we value the relationship? So if you're in a job, you could leave the job. These coworkers, you don't have to spend time on your free time, and you can decide not to come to an event or whatever may the case be, so you don't have to see this. You can avoid these people. But once we look further into ourselves and be honest about where we're at and accept and acknowledge where people are, and we're not forcing our judgment and vice versa. And if someone calls you out on your BS backstory,
right? Oh, BS is a backstory. Okay, you're
right.
Nailed that one.
Then you can either let it go or be defensive, right? So do we feel unsafe around this person, or they've just seen you for who you are?
Well, I think it's really interesting to also work to see when someone else is being defensive and start to look at how can you go back into the wheel and go, okay, maybe it's not this person doesn't like me, but they're on the defense because I haven't taken time to do this. Right. Like some people just like, they dive in and they're like, here's my card. And you're like,
right.
Yeah, bye.
Right.
I'm done with you already. Right.
Yeah.
Versus I get people that come in and are like, hi, how can I help? And I'm like, wow, thank you.
Right. Unsolicited advice.
Oh.
Yeah. Unsolicited advice. Yeah. Especially when already we're feeling unworthy of the situation, right? So then to hear it, who's trying to help you, comes across as solidifying our own idea, our own BS about our unworthiness of the situation.
Yeah, that
right?
too.
Right?
That too, for sure.
Yeah.
So what would be, so in going into a public situation, what do you think, I guess it's going to be different.
It's going to be different for everything. The question is, in any relationship, is this something that you want to be doing?
Well, I think even just coming into any event or any public space or can I serve?
And what,
am I taking, am I allowing, am I accepting before I worry about giving? Right. Which the giving is on the outside, the giving and the receiving, and, it seems so basic.
Basic,
when you look at it, you're like, oh, it looks so simple.
Right. Like, think about ourselves. Are we taking? Are we like pushing our ideas onto other people? Are we giving that unsolicited advice? Are we accepting something that is not resonating with ourselves? We're saying yes to someone's ideas and thoughts.
Even like, for example, when someone had, hey, let's have a coffee later, and I've learned to go, no, because I don't want to waste your time. I'm not going to sign up for your business, and I'm going to do you a favor and not take up your time. But maybe I need to, stick around and let's find out what we do have in common. Right. Because maybe I have a bigger referral for you, and maybe there's a way for us to get to know each other. And that's happened to me a lot, but learning to say no.
Or other, increasing their net, maybe help them find other avenues that would help their business. Like I've done that in the past where I said, I think your target audience is this, and I'll help them steer them in that direction. I am not your target audience at this moment in time. Like you said.
But again, also sometimes people don't want to hear that. They're on a mission, right? So it's kind of interesting.
And it is like yes or no as well, right? And reminding them that no was an option for me. Right? It was an option for me.
Learn by my example. Yeah. But I think really what all of this comes down to is living in the present moment and being totally present with the people that are around you. And we all are often on these little devices. We're all guilty. I'm super guilty of being distracted. And it can be challenging to really, really be present. And
really listen.
And you're like, I think we should take a little card of this, take stock of the wheel with us. Let's have a little card. Walk around. Right. Hi, okay, I'm gonna be totally present with you. Am I taking? Are you giving?
Right.
You know, like,
are we empathically listening? Are we honestly connecting for ourselves in this direction and this direction, right?
Well, we just ran into Robyn at the coffee shop, a friend of mine, and her and I literally square off and look each other deep in the eyes for almost every single conversation we have, because there's no other way to not, like, she is so, Mom was like, okay, I got to be present. Is she seeing that I'm thinking a little off to the side? I'm like, you know, because she's so she is an intuitive, right? And I'm just like, okay, am I being totally, like we were talking about, is what's coming out of my mouth, is it totally honest? Is it true? You know, and she makes me just be so present. And it's enlightening, but it's also a little, it can be exhausting.
That's that vibrational energy that's shifting us. And for some people it can be like a cold glass being shattered with hot water. And others, it can feel very soothing, right? Because it's bringing us back into an alignment with ourselves, as long as we're comfortable with that, right? Feeling the sensations in our body of calm and that chaosness that can come, like, okay, I gotta go. I can't spend this 1 second, 3 seconds to be present and just observe the body language, the feelings that are coming up for me as I interact with you, as I look into your eyes deeply, right? And really listen to what you're saying instead of, where's this conversation going? Because you know what, when we start listening, we go in directions we can't even imagine, right? What we thought we were going to have an interaction with, it's just so beautiful. Like, we'll meet people for a minute, 2 minutes in a networking event. You'll meet them at another time, and without any distraction of the other people who could be in the room that you could connect with. And it's beautiful where that direction can go. Right?
Well, if you watch the staring experiments, I love those, because people come in with this expectation of that person that they're going to meet, or sometimes it's someone they've lived with. Have you seen the ones where it's someone who's lived with someone for 20 years and they haven't looked in each other's eyes for 10 minutes in the last 20 years?
Right. Well,
and the
every
beautiful thing that comes from being completely honestly present can be magic. So.
Right. And every day there's a different person to get to know.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know about you, but my moods change every single day and at different times of the month. So I appreciate
we're all like that, especially as women. So I wanted to thank you for this. I hope that people have taken a look at how they're interacting with other people, that they can up their communication skills. And sometimes it's not a skill that we don't have. It's an awareness of a skill that we want to use more often, possibly. So it's not about ignorance or not having it. It's about how are we integrating the skills? Because a lot of us have taken a lot of training, and how can we come and bring it and use it for our own influence and our own learning and for our business, and to have better personal life, and more importantly, to feel really worthy in everyone's presence and to make everyone in our presence feel worthy of us as well. Right. Because we're all equal, we're all one, and there still seems to be this unbalance in the world. So hopefully we can work towards all feeling good all the time. So if you want to come out and see Charito at the ladies meeting on February
25th.
Thank you, 2020, because this will be an evergreen seminar, that masterclass that will be out there. As well, you can come into our back office, which is the entrepreneurcollective.com is the easiest way to find us. Or if you download the Mighty Networks app, you can put in really important, the Entrepreneur Collective, and find us there, and you'll find a multitude of master classes, worksheets, workbooks on how to improve your business, improve your life. Basically, the conference I'm building is Design a Beautiful Life and Build Your Epic Empire, and I want to invite everyone along on that journey. So I hope that you'll join us there. Thank you very much for today.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.